must have registered. How many students have registered so far?
I think it was close to some 200 students have registered for this.
That's great. Good.
Yeah, even I was quite happy about the numbers. Uh, Let me give some more. People are just joining. I can see the names coming.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. They are from one institute or all?
No, different institute. It was just an open thing posted in the social media and other things. Students who are there, if you're able to hear my voice, just type in the chat that you're able to hear. I will be seeing that. I can see the names here: Madhumita, Sridhar. Okay, thank you. They're able to hear us. Okay, so we'll just give 2 more minutes. So I think people have joined in. Okay, the chat is active. I've opened it for everybody, for all of you students. So, as we are discussing about different career opportunities, please feel free to, interact with us through the chat. And never know, it'll be beneficial to a lot of other students as well. Okay, I think that was working. Vintech consultants.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for presenting the video.
Oh yeah, that's the smallest thing I could actually do, Dr.
My
Jain.
pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, so Dr. Mahendrakumar is there, but I think he's part of the audience, so I will, bring him as we start discussing between Dr. Jain and Dr. Mahendrakumar. Okay, so I think we will start. So good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to meet a lot of young and aspiring civil engineers. I would call all of you as future leaders. So I'm Kavitha Kalaiselvi. I'm a civil engineer turned HR profession. I've been in the HR industry for the last 20 years. I'm now on my own and do consulting assignments. I also run a company called Talentegrity. I'm interested and a little bit proficient in career management. So this particular series that I'm actually doing is very specifically for the career management for students. So this is the first episode. So I'm just calling it Career Discussion with Kavitha. So I will be bringing a lot of industry practitioners and have this career discussion exclusively for those who are currently studying in engineering colleges in different streams. And first episode, I wanted that to be for civil engineers because I have that affinity towards that civil engineering because I studied, though I'm not practicing it now. So I'll just have a very quick context of this career management, and then I'll introduce the panels, and then we'll get on to the discussion. Okay, I hope you're able to see the presentation. So this is the first episode of the career discussion. This is about the company. So we do consulting services, we do recruitments, and we also do training. We also do coaching and mentoring for HR professional personally. Okay, I just want to talk about this. Many of you would have seen this Venn diagram, right? This is called Ikigai. It's a Japanese way of representing this. It is nothing but the purpose. So the reason I put this here for career management is all of you, all the students over here, please understand this particular concept. You need to start thinking about what you love, what you are actually good at, what can be paid for that you do, and what the entire world needs if you're going to solve any problem currently in the society. So when these intersects, we will come across our own purpose. The reason for being is what is Ikigai is meant for. So start thinking on these lines and then drive your own career. So, it will actually be leading to success. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Whatever line you choose, whatever career you choose. So this is the only message that I just want to give to all the students here. So don't have any excuses and please own your own career. So if somebody is going to ask you who is responsible for your career, don't pinpoint at anyone else. It is only you. So you need to be crafting your own career and grow in that particular path. So what this series is going to do you is guide you in different aspects. To start with, I'm just bringing this awareness of career opportunities in different field, and after that I will engage with some of those who are really interested in maneuvering the career management journey. We will also help you to navigate to that with a proper career development plan, and then guide you properly so that you will be able to reach wherever you want to go. So with this, let me just stop here and move to the introduction of the panels. Okay, so I have a fantastic panelist with me. Let me just introduce them. Dr. Vinod Jain is the Managing Director of Vintech Consultants. Vintech Consultants is a structural design and civil engineering consulting firm known nationally and internationally for its diversified and quality work. Vintech Consultants is headquartered at New Delhi, India, and has been practicing in the industry since 1988. They work with top-notch architects, developers, and corporates. Vintech specializes in multi-story buildings and have an experience of handling projects with more than 50 stories in reinforced concrete and 34 stories in steel buildings. So I think we just saw the company video of Vintech Consultants. Now, Dr. Jain.
Thank you, Kavitha. Yeah, and it's a good high words you have spoken about us, and all, we welcome to all of the students or whosoever is there. So, and my great regards to Professor Madhavan also.
Yeah. So Dr. Vinod Jain started the firm in 1988 after completing his bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Thapar University. He completed his master's and doctoral studies along with managing the company from IIT Delhi. Today, Vintech has a staff of 80 personnel and have completed more than 800 projects. Dr. Jain is a chartered engineer and he has received numerous awards for the exemplary contributions to the structural design industry, including Bharat Jyoti Award and Rashtriya Udyog Award. Thank you so much, Dr. Jain. It is my pleasure to host you. Thank you for giving your time.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Next on the panel, we have Dr. Mahendrakumar Madhavan. Let me just get him to the video. Okay, let me just talk about him. Dr. Mahendrakumar Madhavan got his Bachelor's of Engineering, Civil Engineering degree from College of Engineering, Guindy, Anna University in 1998, followed by his Master's degree from National University of Singapore in 2000 and PhD from University of Alabama, USA in 2005. His research interests are as follows: affordable housing using light gauge steel structures, structural design of cold formed steel wall panels, CFRP, retrofitting of steel structures, connections in cold formed steel, cyclone resistant structures, steel and concrete composite construction, and parallel flange beam structural steel section. He is a recipient of various academic awards and honors. His scientific contributions include new designs, formulations, guidelines, and innovations in steel structures. He's published more than 30 international journal papers and 25 conference papers. Thank you so much, Dr. Mahendrakumar, for being here. Okay, let's start the discussion. So let me, first start with the question on entry-level roles for civil engineering. So predominantly for a lot of people who are currently in third year and final year civil engineering, so especially now during this lockdown and all that, there is a question on their career. So, we would like to know about the entry-level roles that is existing across, what is in it for them, when they get graduated and come out, at least from, your perspective, your industry.
Yeah, sure. There are a lot of entry-level roles in the industry. As I am related to the construction and construction of building, so I can put my points as follows. One, the site supervisors. A lot of fresh graduates are required to supervise the site and to supervise the labor also. And then the project coordinators. Coordination of the site team and the planning team is required. So project coordinators are required. And junior structural engineer. So as we are running our structural consultancy company, so junior structural engineers are certainly required because we do deploy a lot of fresh graduates. And then geotechnical investigation, they can also apply soil investigation companies. And there are a lot of testing companies are there which do health check of the existing buildings. So they have a lot of equipments, but we are studying in the college. So it's quite useful as HAMA test is one of the things, and a lot of testing facilities are there. And though I'm not related to those fields, like highway engineering, there is a good infrastructure development is there nowadays. And, environmental engineering, and water resources. So a lot of fields are there, and so I think there are a lot of about 10, 11 fields are there in civil engineering, which the people can try. And nowadays they can search certainly on the web also that which companies are doing what, so accordingly they can apply.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so my next question will be on very specific to Vintech consultants. So you had graduated in 1988, and I think after 2 years or something that you started a company on your own. See, that's a very bold step. Normally, when we are in UG engineering, and that too, those days and all that, So how did this happen? How talk to us about the entrepreneurship journey, because that is another career opportunity, if you ask me. Being on your own.
Yeah, sure. When I graduated, I will say that I directly landed to Delhi only, and I wanted to do my consultancy. But as I was having only that theoretical knowledge, so I got some opportunity to be associated with some company and to have the practical experience also. So I did have the association for 1.5, 2 years with them. and side by side I started my own consultancy also. It was very difficult time, very hard time also, and it was not so paying at that time. But if we compare it with nowadays, and anybody fresh graduate is getting. So, but I was quite devoted, but I never thought about the money, frankly speaking. So it was just very hard time for 7 to 8 years to establish the company, and I was in touch with a lot of my uh, associates of that company in which I had worked. So just I am giving you the small example. I got because nobody wanted to give the work to any fresh graduate because their investment was quite high. So one of my client has trusted me. He has given me good industrial shed. To mention that at that time fee was only 15,000, and I did the complete job. Then I was not having the full confidence, so I went to my some associate and some senior associate, and I paid him the full amount, and not mentioning him that I am getting or not getting. So he checked it. I was quite impressed that everything was all right. So I released the drawing. In that way, one has to start not looking into the money, but just to get the experience, to get established sometimes. So in this way, even one or two friends joined me that Vinod, let us say, let us do some work together. Again, I will mention that it was quite hard time, and people start getting the opportunities to get the job in the government and PSUs, etc. So he left because he was earning, he was uh, got the salary of about 10 to 12,000, and I was earning 2 to 3,000 only. If you compare it with today, not to mention it, it is quite blessed. But at that time, when he left that partnership, I still kept on going in this way. And after 7 8 years, then I established my name in the market, and then the curve was at 60 to 70 degree, I will say. And at the moment, if I compare it, we are one of the largest consultancy company in North India.
Wow.
So one has to be quite devoted and sincere about the work, then certainly the company can be established. My feeling is always like that.
That is very, very inspiring. So I hope that's a message to a lot of students who are listening here. So, so when you put hard work, and especially, I would call it the formative years of your career, first 3 to 5 years, put that hard work and focus on learning a lot of new things. And you would definitely, grow much higher in your career.
And
Okay.
even doing the MTech and the doctorate along with the work was very difficult. But
Yeah, I cannot imagine. How did you do that?
yeah. So one has to spoil himself. I will say only then the company can be established. Frankly speaking, but nowadays good opportunities are there with everyone. These people are quite blessed. So
Mm-hmm.
they are born in good time.
Mm.
We are born in struggling time. Anyways, but with God blessings, we are quite established after 7 10 10 years. But this I can certainly convey my message. So anyone is dedicated and decided that he's to do, and not to jump here or there.
Mm.
You are not getting money in one business, you start the other business, then third day the other business, then you will not get anything. You will start losing your time. So this is the you just keep on going on one track, and why you will not be get established.
Wonderful. And you completed your PG and then you did your PhD while you were also running the company, and that too early years of your company and post graduation.
Sure.
Wonderful. I can,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even able to imagine the kind of work that you'd have got into. But all that is paying off now, so which is very good. That is the cue that I want all the audience, especially the students, to take it from this? Okay, so I'm just going to change the format a little bit. So I will, have all the discussion with you, and then probably I will bring in, I'll try to bring in Dr. Mahendrakumar into the live room. Okay, coming to Vintech. So, do you hire fresh engineers for Vintech consultants?
Yeah, sure. We always do, and we always deploy a lot of trainees also in our company, because after third or fourth year, they have to have the industrial training for 2 months or 6 months sometimes. So we always have about 7 to 8 trainees in our office, and because they are trained in our office, so we always think that after the graduation they can join us. So we do deploy a lot of fresh.
Okay, so what do you see in a fresher while you hire a fresh engineering graduate? What are the competencies or the skills that you actually look at? I'm asking this very specifically so that students can start preparing themselves.
Sure. Yeah, apart from the theoretical knowledge, they should learn the basic, you can say, softwares which are used in the designing the buildings, maybe ETAB or STAT, and a lot of guides and YouTube channels are there to guide them. And they should have the minimum knowledge of Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Words also, because in Microsoft Excel we do a lot of our sheets to do the calculations, and they should have some minimum knowledge of AutoCAD also. These are small things which they can start learning along with their academics only, and they should try for good communication skills. They can have the video chats, or they can see the video chats of different, I mean to say, the officials or like that, because you are to communicate with sometimes receivers, and sometimes you are to talk with the client also. So these are the minimum knowledge one should have, uh, which will be quite useful for their career also.
Okay, wonderful. So, how do you hire? You go to campus and hire, or you take it from the colleges in Delhi, or how do you do that?
Generally, that is what I have told. From the trainees only, we hire the fresh graduates, and with the name, sometimes people apply, so we do hire. But generally, campus interviews are not required. So people keep on posting their biodatas to us, and
Mm.
we references sometimes. And even a lot of academicians like Professor Madhavan and other professors, they are in touch with us. So they also send some their good students to us.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, there's another interesting. I mean, I've been collecting a lot of questions from the students. So there was one interesting question. I thought I'll just put it across here, but I really wanted Dr. Mahendrakumar also to comment, because it's like people generally who are in their third year, final year, they are kind of in dilemma. Some people ask them to do higher studies, and some people ask them to do no, take up a good job now, and then you can do higher studies a little later. And so people were asking, I'm a little confused, which one to go. Do I need to do higher studies, or do I need to get to the industry to gain that industry knowledge immediately? But I think you are like one epitome, like you did together both. So what would be your advice in today's scenario, today's generation, with the current scenario in context? What is your take on this particular question?
Uh, yeah, I will say in that way that one should decide and one should be clear in his mind what he want to do. Whether he want to go for the higher studies, no problem. He can prepare for the gate. If he want to join some PSUs or IAS, he should prepare hard for that only. IAS or IAS. If you want to go for some engineering company, you start learning the required softwares and the names of the company also. Struggled a lot in that way, but
Okay.
nowadays everything is on internet, so they can do very well.
Okay. 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 Thank you, Dr. Jain. Any questions from the audience to Dr. Jain? Then I'm going to bring Dr. Mahendra Kumar after this. Okay, there's a question from Ananta Krishnan. He's asking, sir, is it compulsory to do internship to get recruited into a company?
Internship, otherwise, because it's industrial training, which is compulsory in the your course also after third year or sometimes the final semester. So accordingly, it is just like internship. Otherwise, after graduation, you can join as a fresh graduate and.
Okay. Any other question? I'll try to just bring Dr. Mahendrakumar. Okay. So please keep posting the question, and you can also send me emails, and then we'll take up questions even later after this session as well. Thank you, Dr. Jain. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
Any advice to the students, and then I will bring in Dr. Mahendrakumar.
Yeah, all the best to everyone, and we are there anytime. You can be in touch with us through Kavitha also or directly. You need any assistance or guidance, we are there.
Yeah, will you take interns if they apply?
Yeah, sure. That is what I've told. We
Yeah.
take about 7 to 8 interns.
Okay, great. So I will definitely get in touch with you because I'm also working on improving, the internships also for those who are currently in third year.
Sure. Right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Dr.
All the
Jain.
best. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
We will talk about GIT exams, PSU jobs, Navratna companies, and what is in it in research areas and job opportunities in academia, the entire education sector. Oh, finally, we have Dr. Mahendrakumar Madhavan here. You can talk about yourself. How did you do your civil engineering, uh, followed by PG and research in steel structures, and how did you get that interest in steel structures?
Just study higher and then little higher and so eventually it came that way. The main turning point I would say was the project I did with Professor Samuel Knight during my final year Vintech. I think that was on steel structures. So it inspired me. Many people work in concrete structures, so it was a steel structure, so it inspired. And then I got an opportunity to pursue higher studies at National University of Singapore in the area of steel structures with Professor N.E. Shanmugam and Professor Devendran, extremely good gentlemen. So it was a good exposure for me away in '98 when I got this opportunity, and it was a nice exposure to a world-class university. And then from then on, they said that you shouldn't stop at masters. I was inspired by my advisor, Professor N.E. Shanmugam, who was a full professor at that time there. And the amount of respect that he would get wherever he goes to social meetings and things like that. And so he became more of my role model. So I thought I should actually, pursue higher in this area and then maybe become a teaching professional. So they pushed me hard to go to US to do my PhD. So I took their advice. I went there to US. It was not an easy thing, a lot of struggles. So I just went on, and then after that, my PhD advisor told me that whatever the opportunities you get, just don't lose it. So I got an opportunity to work in the industry. I did want to come to academia, but then I got an opportunity to work in industry. So I worked there for several years, almost 6 to 7 years. 7 years I worked there. Got a good practical exposure, and then I said, okay, it's good time to come back to academics. And then I started my career here in India as a faculty at IIT Hyderabad, and now I'm an associate professor here.
Okay, wonderful, great. So let me not delay. I've already introduced you in that webinar, and I think we couldn't just see you there. So I thought I'll just bring you to the window here. There are a lot of students, who would really get inspired. So my first question is, how is the job market or the job opportunities in the public sector side, PSUs? So what should they do in order to get into these kind of jobs in PSU?
See, first and foremost is study the basic engineering very well. If you're a civil engineer, you should be very good in, say, strength of materials, structural analysis 1, structural analysis 2, and things like that. So if you're very good in these areas, that is very nice because you can survive. in any part of the world, because this is very, very fundamental. If you really want to go into PSUs, the first and foremost thing that I think you should do is to focus on preparing for GATE. Okay, there are several government companies that are there, and they don't ask anything. You don't have to prepare for individual companies, PSUs to prepare. So they take your GATE score as an eligibility criteria. And once you get a job there, your life is set basically, because you join as a graduate trainee engineer. And then the path to career is very fast. If you do well and you're reasonably good, you're loyal, you're dedicated, people will look at all those qualities, not just technical. So you should be an all-rounded personality, but the first entry ticket is to write and perform well in the GATE exam. That, I think, is not necessarily that you should go for a coaching, but if you go for a coaching, in addition to being good, you can actually slightly have a better advantage. So prepare your life such that if you want to be in that public sector unit, and then you can really do GATE. Another aspect is you can also do IES, in Indian Engineering Service. That is also a great opportunity. And if you prepare well, say third year, fourth year, and then you prepare well, and then you take that exam also along with GATE, then you widen your opportunities to get into a good government sectors. So if you start early, say by 21, 22, you're getting a job as an entry-level graduate engineer. By 38, 40, I think you can be almost reaching chief engineer position. That means that you'll be retiring at 60, 20 years as a chief engineer position. You can do so many things. You will decide the policy of the nation when it comes to engineering. So if you become a chief engineer for railways or any other organizations, if you're good and you can be a change agent and do a lot of things, because you have now the power, the energy, as well as the right determination to do right things for our nation, I think you should focus on that. If you really want to be a policymaker, at the end of the day, if you want to accomplish something, there should be some level you should achieve a policymaker position to make any difference. So that should be actually a policymaker need not be a politician. It can be a technical policymaker. You can be at the helm of an organization and do many things. There are a lot of things for us to grow and do. And India is one such country. We have 1.3 billion people, but there is not much infrastructure, in my opinion. So there is going to be a tremendous demand for civil engineers. This is a place where it's like an ocean. And it is not, civil engineering is not just building 2-story buildings or 3-story buildings. You really have so many different areas of structural engineering. Wind is one area you can be an expert. Earthquake, tuned mass dampers, steel bridges, pre-stressed concrete. You can be an expert in any one area, and then you can really make money, as well as you can also contribute. But in civil engineering, you cannot be a general person. You should be a specialist. You should be unique. You should contribute something towards, there is a keyword that they type in and your name should appear in Google. You have to be that good. So if you're good, really good, you can really make money. And civil engineering is one of those professions you make money all your life. There is no such thing as retirement. In fact, the more you grow older, the more money you will make, because sometimes judgments do matter.
Wonderful. Okay, that is like very inspiring here. So I think, students, you've got it. So would you advise them to do a PG so that they get specialized in specific thing and then get onto some research areas or something, or?
Absolutely. Kavitha, when we studied together, you know how much we studied in civil engineering. We took like 6 courses and 2 labs, 2 credits each, and 6 into 3 is 18 credits and 2 labs, 22 credits we studied, which slogged, and each one was so difficult. But these days, the course is so diluted. There is not much of technical content. I'm not blaming the curriculum, but there needs to be an overall development also, but there is too much emphasis away from technical aspects. So what happens is that the guy who just completes his Vintech, and given that civil engineering has 6 to 7 fields, like Dr. Jain had mentioned, you have structural engineering, you have construction management, you have geotechnical engineering, transportation engineering, then you have environmental engineering, and then you have surveying, then geoinformatics. It's a vast field, civil engineering, all put together. And then they want to teach all of that in 4 years. All you learn is just simple concepts, abstracts, and simple definitions. That is all you learn each course. But then there is a lot more to be done in order to be making yourself a useful person to any industry that you join. So my humble request is, if you want to stick technical, I think you cannot do with just bachelors. It's not going to help.
Okay.
Because there we are more like a factory. We are producing like 5 lakh to 6 lakh graduates per year. How do you find yourself distinguishing yourself in any particular field? You have to show passion. Engineering is more like an MBBS degree. Nobody now wants to go to a doctor with an MBBS. They want to know some kind of special. So you choose your passion. So structural, geotechnical, construction management, transportation, all kinds of stuff. So anyone passionate about it, I think you will be successful. And then you go for a job, then they will respect you.
Okay. And how will GATE exam help in getting a job?
The GATE exam is because the entry criteria. India is a very complex nation. So many people, so many communities. You have to have some benchmark. So the government of India has decided that rather than conducting each and every exam, let's have this GATE exam that is typically done for the MTechs and make it an uniform criteria for all the PSCs also. So they say that you do well in your PSU and we'll take you. That's all they say. Basically, it's a criteria. But that is a different path. I'm not saying that, but if you want to be like Dr. Jain, for example, start a company or be an entrepreneur or a leading structural consultant, I think you should have a master's degree. There is no doubt about it. But if you want to have a life like you join a PSU and then learn what they call OJT, on the job training, I think that is very essential that you start early in your career, get a GATE, get into a PSU, learn the tricks of the trade. Say, for example, you get into Coal India. You learn a lot about power plant structures, how it is being done. Although it is civil engineering, that's a different type of civil engineering. How to construct a chimney is very different from how do you construct a tall building or a structure. So it's a different ball game altogether. So what are the things that are used for the type of structure they use is not regular. It's a duct. It is a cylindrical tank. It is an oil storage tank. This is also civil engineering, but you need to have a different kind of mindset. And that will help you even if you go for, say, oil and gas sector. There is a lot of money involved in oil and gas sector. It's so there also people do go there and become a specialist and make money. So that's also civil engineering. At the end of the day, it boils down to stress and strain. But taking a GATE and getting into PSU will lead into that kind of path. That's nothing wrong with it. You can be the head of the Coal India and then do things, make something, something contributing, some contributory thing that you can do. But if you want to be a structural consultant, master's is must. I think I would say so. We are about to working on many things to get the professional engineering certification in our country. Once that professional engineering certification comes, more than likely they will insist on masters.
Okay.
So right now, everybody can be a civil engineer. Okay, unlike in the US, where I did after my PhD, I was asked to go through a lot of rigorous exams. One is called engineer in training, which you have to do once you get your degree, and then after 4 years you work under a licensed professional engineer. He has to certify that you are morally good and then ethically correct and all that kind of stuff, and then you send your papers to the Alabama Board of Licensure, where I took my PE exam, and then they ask you to write an exam. It's a very rigorous exam, 8 hours, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the evening, and then you get your degree. But here, no such thing is there. There is no certification. So, and also one more thing that is missing in our country is the concept of continuous education. Technology do change, and people are not updating themselves with the technology. See, one of the things being a faculty at IIT Hyderabad or any other high learning technical institution, you are constantly in touch with the latest technology. So by nature, we are able to understand, what are the things, the trends that are going on. But people who are working in the industry sometimes may not have that opportunity, neither the time, and sometimes may not be the interest to venture into new things. They might be stuck in the old ways, but then technology is moving fast and they have to update themselves. So PE licensure, for example, a professional engineering licensure in India will require, say, you have to take 8 to 10 hours of continuing license education in order to keep the license valid. In such scenarios, people might actually be willing to engage themselves in the latest technologies, at least attend webinars or online classes, or go to some places where they will learn some 1 day or 2 day courses on latest technologies to keep themselves updated.
And from audience, please type if you have any questions in the chat box, please. I will be able to ask the question. And another thing, I wanted to ask you about is how are the opportunities in research areas and education and academia, that side? Because generally we don't discuss about that part, when we talk about the career opportunities.
No, that's a very good question, Kavitha. Very, very, very good question. Let me tell you, the opportunities to become an academic in this day and age is very, very high. That doesn't mean that we dilute quality. We really look for quality. At least when we are IIT Hyderabad or any other place, when we are recruiting people, we look for the highest quality of people who can come and join us. So there is no doubt about it. But then the career has to be planned very carefully. Okay, so this is not like a 2020 game. This is like a test match. So you have to think at least 6, 7 years or 8 years ahead of the game, and then where you want to position yourself. And given that there are a lot of new IITs that have come up in our nation. See, when we studied, it was only 5 IITs, right? Delhi, Bombay, Madras, Kanpur, and Kharagpur. That's it, 5 IITs. Now we have like 23 or 24 IITs. Okay, almost every state has an IIT.
We have
That doesn't
23
mean
IITs, is it? Okay, that's a news.
almost. Okay, so that means that there is a need. See, 23 IITs means not that we are diluting anyway. When we started, our nation was 300 million. Now we are 1.3 billion. So we have to cater to a large number of audience, and people's aspirations have to be met.
Yep.
So that is why they have started. But that doesn't mean that they will, lower their quality to hire anybody. So that benchmark will be there. So whoever is very studious and really interested and passionate about teaching and having a career in research, actually can plan their career very well. Take a GATE exam, get into any of these IITs to do your masters and continue for a PhD here or go elsewhere, but doesn't matter. Okay, and then you can really get into faculty position, then you can make a good contribution. Okay, and those days when I studied 20 years back, there was not much opportunities for research in India. I have to be honest with that. So there was a overwhelming majority of the people said, okay, you go outside, study there and come back. But now IITs have invested a lot of money. Our IITs is one of the state of the art. We have a lot of testing facilities. Everything that you can possibly imagine is there. We have no working timings, 8 to 5 kind of thing. 24/7. When you want to work, you work. When you want to play, you play. So we give the full freedom to the student, ask them to do whatever they want and come up with creativities, and we are there to support. And most of the new IITs, if you see that the faculties are not very old also, they are very young, energetic, jovial. So they treat every student more like a friend and try to work with them. Unlike there is not much hierarchy that is there. So if someone is really interested or passionate about research, they can actually start building their career, crafting their career actually. Yeah. So that is also a good opportunity. So by the time, say they are 21 and then they do a master's, 23 they complete, and then 4 years of PhD, 27. And then with 1 or 2 years postdoc or something like that, by 28, they can be faculty. So that's a huge thing. Faculty, when they start as assistant professor at IIT, say, for example, they start at level 12, 11 or 12. So if anybody wants to know the hierarchy in which the central government operates, it's level 1 to level 18. And beyond that is only the 2 people get higher salaries. One is the Vice President of India, then next is the President of India. There are 2 people. So there are level 18 levels are there. So even if you do well and you get into a good IITs, you start at 11 or 12. That's a huge. At age 27, you can get that. But that doesn't mean that you can skimp. You really have to work hard, prove yourself, publish a lot of papers. Make sure that you have an identity for yourself. You should be a potential person caliber, and then you will be in high demand. And obviously, every IITs would like to hire you and do things. So if you can plan your career like that, sky is the limit. And India is a great, great place, happening place, especially for civil engineers.
Okay, so there are a few questions coming from the audience. So I'll just go by one. So there's one question where, how is women intake in PSUs? I mean, she's asked for private sectors also. Is there any percentage of women in civil engineering?
I don't think they would.
There's no, difference, right? Yeah.
I don't think there should be any difference. You're good.
Okay, cool.
Only IITs, I think there is a quota for women, especially because the government is, I think they are thinking about hiring some, like economically weaker section, EW is 10% quota, right? And likewise, there might be some quotas for women in engineering, just to make sure that there is a balance. There was a talk about it, but I'm not so sure if it has been implemented, but I had some people talk about it at a high level, that there might be some quotas for women.
Yeah. I mean, this question, I think, so don't worry about it. I think some Bala Punita had asked. So don't worry about it, Bala Punita. Just go ahead and do whatever you want to do and whatever you're good at. Don't have this men, women, and all that. So, engineer is an engineer.
True. And in fact, civil engineering, most people think it's just for biased towards men. It is not the case. It's very, 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 very less. See, I've been to Dr. Jain's office. Fantastic office. You can do wonderful things. You don't have to go to site. There are a lot more things to be done in the office. Prepare, doing analysis, prepare drawings.
Yep.
So a bulk of design work is done in this, in the office.
Yep.
And once in a while, you can always go to the site, go in the morning, look at all the things, and you can come back. So there won't be any discrimination, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're a faculty, there's nothing like that. You can work. You can work in the lab, no issues.
Yeah, and whatever you're good at and interested in. I'll just move to the next question. Ranjit had asked. He's from CEG. He says he has attended your discussion on cold form steel structures in CEG. He's asking, how can I see your research works on steel that you worked? I'm also interested in steel structures.
Okay, very simple. Type my name, type Structural Steel Research Group in Google, IIT Hyderabad, and my name, I think you will get a hit. You go there, I have nothing to hide. Everything is black and white listed. I've got close to 37 publications, research publications. Every one article link is also provided. You click that link, and if your organization, if Anna University subscribe to that, you will get it. If not, you let me know. I'll download it and send it to you.
Wonderful. And if somebody is really interested and keen, and if Dr. Mahendrakumar has the requirement for a research fellow or something like that, we will definitely get in touch with you. But you should be really inclined towards that subject, and you've got to have that interest to work. So we'll definitely help you out. Okay, there's another question from Suneet Matthews. So after completing my PG, we still struggle to get into a good company. How to counter that situation? What should I do for that?
See, civil engineering, don't worry about good company. In fact, if you go to a good company, you will not learn much. I'm telling you the honest truth. In civil engineering, actually, after you graduate, you are useless, because it takes at least 3 years of training to make yourself useful. So the company actually is paying you without getting anything in return for first 3 years, because they are just training you. And only after the 3rd year, you will be somewhat useful to the company. So as I listened to Dr. Jain, he was very correct. You should not in civil engineering look for money. You will get tons of money in civil engineering. No other profession I would challenge that you will get such amount of money in civil engineering if you're good at it. So first, don't go after money, don't go after good company, don't think that you should settle early in life. Okay, just go and work in any small design company where there are only 2 or 3 people also. Go there and work without expecting any much money in return. Okay, learn the tricks of the trade. In fact, if you go to a smaller company, you will not only be doing technical things, but you will also be learning a lot more managerial things. Okay, which is very, very useful. If you go to a big company, they'll put you in a silo. I hate to say that there are several big companies, people don't grow, because from coming out of a silo is not an easy thing to do. So if you go for a smaller company, you can learn to do technical things, how to work with each one. The communication will be faster. You will be asked to do several things. You will talk to the client, you will talk to the, the materials person, you talk to the design engineer, you go to the site. You will be multitasking several things, which is very, very valuable at an early stage. So think yourself, you want to be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond? Okay, I would rather be a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah. Okay, so there's one other question I thought it will be useful to everybody. So you mentioned about the hierarchy in PSUs. Is there any hierarchy levels of engineers in PSU? What is that?
Yes, certainly. Any central government organization will have hierarchy. I told you, I don't know exact hierarchy, but I know that it starts from level 1 to level 18. Okay. So
that is for the central government organizations, any PSUs or
Yeah,
any organization. Okay.
yeah, everybody.
So, I mean, can they go immediately after the BTech, or should they have to do their PG?
No, for PSUs, you don't have to. That is what I told you. You just do a gate score and then you get into PSU and make a career out of it. And
Okay.
there you learn what is known as OJT, on the job training. So whatever that is very specific to that, Coal India, for example, will teach you all the tricks of the trade which you cannot learn at masters.
Okay,
So you
this
have
is
both
wonderful.
advantage.
Yeah, to all the students who are listening here, please hear this. I would also advise all of you to prepare for GATE, then get into PSUs, and that is, I think, that is going to be the best, career growth for all of you if you do your GATE exam well. And especially now, because there were a few questions on current scenario and current context of all this global crisis, financial crisis, and all that. They were asking what do I do and all that. Focus on your GATE exam, do your exams well, and then you could join the PSUs.
GATE as well as become an IAS officer. Yeah, what prevents you from
Yeah.
becoming an IAS officer? Right, so it will be a good position. See, you'll also have you may not make much money, but you'll have a lot of power using which you can become a good policy maker. If you're good at heart, you have a right vision, and you want to do something great to the country, and you can really make a difference if you take up IES or other positions.
Okay, wonderful.
And one more thing I wanted to also share with you is that people who are in the first university topper or first in the class and really wanted to do something different, there is also another opportunity called Prime Minister's Research Fellow. Okay, they have a lot of requirement, and then what they do is that they hire the best of the best. You have to join with a professor in any IIT and work with him and write a proposal and then submit the proposal, and then you have to appear for an interview. There will be a panel of experts who will grill you actually. But the moment you get selected, you will be given an opportunity of 70,000 rupees stipend per month for the first 2 years, and then 80,000 for the remaining 3 years per month. I'm talking. On top of it, you will get at least 2 to 3 lakhs as money for research, travel abroad, and things like that. Okay, for 5 years. The only thing guarantee is that you have to you have to do a direct PhD. Right from bachelor's, you will be given an opportunity to complete a master's and PhD. So it's more like a test match, but not everybody gets it. But if you're really, really good, there is an opportunity to make money, and then you can also study. I mean, so you're just doing your hobby, and then you're getting paid for it. And getting 70,000 rupees from government of India is like almost, it's great.
Yep, wonderful.
And they are giving opportunities. They are giving opportunities. Let's make use of it. I don't think many people know that. So if you want to know more about it, please type Prime Minister's Research Fellow, PMNRF, something like that. Okay, Prime Minister's Research Fellow, PMRF. Okay, PMRF. So you can just type that, and then in the Google you will get everything. Look at the last year. If you are interested in steel structures, you can always write to me. We can work something together.
Okay, wonderful. So I think I'm almost done with the questions, and there is one question somebody is asking: what is the difference in doing PhD in IIT and doing PhD in abroad?
Not much difference. Okay. One good thing about doing PhD abroad is that you'll get exposure to different culture. So the work environment will be very different. Okay. But in terms of facilities, I think we are far, far, far better, especially in the new IITs where they've pumped in several thousands of crores and equipments, everything, they have done it. So that is not at all an issue. But the bigger issue is whether you get funding or not. If you go to other countries, you should make sure that you get funding. Okay, without funding, you cannot do a PhD. And also, if you want to do PhD and if you want to go abroad, I would strongly suggest go to US. Don't go to any European country. That doesn't mean that I'm belittling Cambridge or Oxford, but the amount of time and the quality that typically an European university spends on PhDs is more like it's a factory-made product, is what I would say. So basically, they have 3 years. They get into that, and then they do something and complete you out. But whereas in the US, then there is a lot more rigorous requirement of coursework. So in addition to research, they have a lot more coursework, which means that after bachelor's, you have to do at least 16 courses that they will ensure. So for me, at least they made sure that I took 16 courses after my bachelor's, and then only they'll let you out. So the type of model that they follow is called a T. T is the top flange. T is the breadth, which is the breadth of engineering, and then the stem portion of the T is basically the depth of engineering. So they make sure that you have both breadth and depth. Whereas in European places or maybe in Australia or other places, you will not have that. They will make sure that you go in, and then 2.5 to 3 years, they will make sure that, even Japan for that matter, it doesn't focus so much on producing a quality PhD. But rather in IIT, we have this same T system. In IIT, we make sure that the guy at least take 12 courses. And 12 courses is just a minimum. If you want to take 24 courses, we don't charge you extra. If you go to other countries, they charge by credit. If you have 3 credit, you pay $5,000. 6 credits, you pay $10,000. Here, you just pay the fees, and you can take whatever number of courses you want to take. That's a great advantage. People do take advantage of that. So when it comes to IITs, we have no limit. I think the minimum limit is at least to 12 courses to complete. But after that, then you have to focus on research. And nowadays, we have also made sure that without good publications, you're not going to graduate. So we have ensured a lot of checks and balances to make sure the quality of the work that is coming out of PhDs is not less than. In fact, many of my students, to be honest with you, have done much better than most people that I would see being done PhDs from other countries.
Wow.
So I'm not bragging, but the newer IITs have a bigger drive and thirst to actually compete and be part of the old league. So we have an internal motivation to become part of that league.
Great. Okay, I think we are overshooting the time. Is it okay? You will take 2 more questions, Dr. Mahendrakumar.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so there's somebody asking how to prepare for IES effectively, and what are the opportunities there?
Yeah, I'm not an expert in examination taking. I'm just here to tell you that there are a lot more opportunities. See, when I grew up, there was no such thing as Google, and so you have to notice what you have. Now you have Google at IES. There are several coaching centers. You want to go to a coaching center, that's fine, or you want to download this thing. Talk to your chief who has taken the exam last year. He might give you much more information than I can give you. But all I can say is that many of my students, they park themselves, especially those, we are Pan India, right? So people from all over India. I know many of my students, sometimes I once met them in the Delhi airport. They park themselves in Delhi for 1 year, prepare for IES or IAS, and then they get the green. So coaching, do it, or if it is self-study, do whatever it takes. Google it, get the information, talk to people, go to the coaching center, get this, whatever is necessary. Could be a person who should be able to move mountains to get the job done. What they call in the US is called a go-getter. Go get it. Start. You are responsible for your own career, right? One says that you are the captain of your own ship. Okay, you have to drive your ship in whatever way you want, and nobody is responsible other than you.
Absolutely. I think that is what, because that is what I disseminate this and have this discussion and put that into the students' mind, that you have to craft your own career and start navigating. He will definitely help you, guide you, but you are the one who's going to be doing it. So I think we are good. Any concluding remarks? We'll close it, Dr. Mahendrakumar.
Be passionate about what you're doing.
Okay.
Civil engineering has been neglected for a long period of time. We really don't have quality civil engineers. If you are good and you have qualified, and your experience, your dedication, your passion, I think the guys will pay whatever they want to pay and get you. Okay, you don't initially start your career thinking that you want to have money and things like that. The moment you get into a softy position, money, your graph may look like you are going in just a 45-degree this thing. But if you are staying in the game for a longer period of time, and then you're shooting up, then it will be like E power X. The moment you cross the threshold, you will grow like anything. Nobody can catch you. So don't think about money and other things. Be passionate about what you do. Learn the trade very well. Be humble, because if you're humble, there are many people who are willing to teach you. So be humble with your seniors, especially in civil engineering, because they offer a lot of that no textbook will teach. Okay, so you go to work with an organization. In fact, I would suggest don't go to a bigger organization, go to a smaller organization and learn the culture, learn all the things from them. If you want to be an entrepreneur, go do an entrepreneur, or if you want to pursue higher studies, you pursue, do whatever you want, but be passionate about it. But if you're good, civil engineering,
Wonderful.
not to say that we are building builders.
Yeah, thank you. That was great. So I hope all of you, I'm very sorry about this technical problem of putting all of you to another platform. I really wanted you all to listen to Dr. Mahendrakumar, and that is why I really wanted to shift that, and sorry about that. And I'm sure all of you are really serious about your careers, and that is why I'm staying and listening to all of this. So thank you so much, and all the very best to all of you in whatever career you want to be navigating to. So please feel free to write to us. We will definitely help you in whatever ways we could. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all of you who participated. Thank you, Dr. Mahendrakumar. I know there were some issues when you were joining. Sorry about it. I'll try to fix it from the next episode.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah.